Great British Bake Off is literally the only food program that I ever watch, and I was such a big fan of yours, particularly just because you were doing something really different, and I feel like you gave yourself such a huge challenge going in there.
Yeah, I mean, I love it when people say it's the only food program they watch because it's just
True.
as wholesome as it gets. Like, who doesn't want to sit and watch people like make cake in a tent? Like, it's just amazing.
It's the dream. It's the dream. What made you want to apply to a show that could barely be described as a celebration of sort of eggs and butter? What made you think, I'm going to go and do it?
So basically, I've always loved the Bake Off. I saw it when they first filmed it in Bake Off, like the first season when I was just like a kid. But then when I saw the 2020 season, that was when I was like, I just think it would be so amazing if somebody went on and like showed that you could do it vegan just as good and like stood up like with the rest. And then I was like, I don't want to be one of them people that sat there like, oh, it would be good if someone did that. I was like, I'll just try and do it. And to be honest with you, my mum, she was like, Freya, don't apply. She was like, you're just going to be disappointed, you know, like, because she just loves me so much. She didn't want me to be like let down. But I was like, oh, I've got nothing to lose. And going in, I was a little bit skeptical because, like you said, it very much is a celebration of all things non-vegan. So I was like, maybe they're going to be like, we can't be bothered with this. But yeah, it was just the best decision of my life, 100%.
Were they, when you, because I don't know what the application process is like, but were they kind of very interested in the, because you must have gone in there and said, look, cards on the table, I am vegan, I'm a vegan baker. Were they interested in that, or did you get the sense they thought that might be a problem?
Well, so I do think they were interested and they were very accepting of it, but they did actually say to me when I was on the show, you would have got on the show if you weren't vegan anyway. Like it was nothing to do with that. Like we just, I think they love someone with a good accent, don't they? And someone that can laugh about being bad. But yeah, they were really, really good. And I think I did actually find a lot of people say to me, where the judge is really quite skeptical. And Prue was so interested. You know, a lot of the time when I'd be baking things, she'd like ask me genuine questions to want to know. So yeah, I was really surprised that everybody in the tent was really supportive. And I think people are just seeing like the future, aren't they? And then they're like, we all need to learn from each other. And it was really positive.
Yeah, I was one. That's one of my questions. I was wondering whether you felt Paul and Prue were gave you a fair hearing because obviously they were tasting your bakes that had completely different ingredients in terms of the fats as to everyone else's. And did you feel like you got a fair judging?
Yeah, because people say, do you think like they should have given you more lenience and things? And I absolutely don't think they should have given me more lenience because I knew going in like I was doing it different to everybody else, and that was my decision. So they definitely didn't give me any lenience with it being vegan. They weren't like, oh, you know, but they were really, really nice. And I think that they were very understanding that I was doing it from like a good place, and I think they really loved that I was like there for the morals. And I just really enjoyed it, and I'm super passionate about it. And I think they could tell that. And I do think it's hard with a show like that that's been going on for so long. I think maybe they were like, oh, it's nice to have something a little
Yeah.
bit different. I know Peter the year before was quite into gluten-free baking and things. And yeah, I think it's nice to have like a little bit of a change and mix it up.
Mm. And yeah, I can get that Prue would have been really interested just because it's such a different art being a vegan baker just because you know what you want the end result to be, but you've kind of almost got to reverse engineer it to work out how you achieve that with different ingredients. So I bet she was thinking, this is the not even the next generation, because obviously you and Prue are quite different
Yeah.
ages, but she was thinking this is the future that you are, which is so exciting. Did you feel proud to have gone on there and sort of blazed a trail?
Yeah, I really do because I do think to myself a lot. So I'm so much of a better baker now, obviously after Bake Off. Like there's so many skills that I know. And I do think if I went into Bake Off, say the current like season, I'd have been so much better. But I just think that's not what it was about. I was really glad that I went in there. And yeah, I felt really honoured to be like the first person that's done it vegan. And I think that's another thing about the show that people don't really know is like when you come out of the show, you're so much better because the challenges are so hard. You know, like you would never just randomly decide to do that at home. So yeah, I'm really glad that I did do it when I did, even though I will say, like, I didn't even think I was very good at baking before I went on the show.
Were you almost quite surprised when you heard that you got in, or were you just like, oh yeah, you seem like
Well,
that person?
well, I'm just not really the type of person. People are like, well, you must have just been so shocked, but I'm just so chill in life. And I always tell the story of when I actually found out when I got on Bake Off, because my whole family are very like me, just really chill. And I was on my doorstep outside my house, and they rang like my phone to be like, "Oh, you're one of the 12 or whatever." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm excited." And I thought, "Oh, I'll go in, tell my dad who's inside." It's like that'll make me more excited. And I went in and I was like, "Oh, Dad, I had got on to Bake Off." And he was like, "All right." He was like, "But the dog's just pooed on the carpet. So like, I needed to clean that up because I've got a meeting." So I was like, "All right, great. Love this." Like, and then
Like,
I,
love yourself.
yeah, no, I tell this at food festivals all the time. And one time my dad was sat in the audience after, he was like, "Freya, could you not tell people that?" And I was like, "They know you didn't mean it like that." But so I
That's
think it
funny.
was quite swept under the rug.
Hopefully not literally with the dog poo. That was
No, no.
and wait, because you do have to keep it secret, I think, though. So you're allowed to tell your family, but no one else.
Yeah, so they were really strict about keeping it secret, and I am terrified of authority and rules. I am not one to just be going rogue. So I was like, if I tell anyone, I'm not going to be allowed on the show. So I told nobody, and I'm officially the world's worst liar. So like my friends would be like, "Where have you been?" And I was like, "Oh, I tried to say I was on a uni project, but then I just for some reason couldn't come up with a solid answer of what the project was." Everyone knew I was lying, and then I found out Lizzie just told her whole street. She was like, "I'm not bothered." She was like, "Wow, they're not going to kick me off. I'm going to tell everyone." So I didn't even have to lie. So like,
That's so funny. Your friends must have been like, "What? Has she got a secret boyfriend? Is she like?"
yeah.